In 1982, I was a junior in college, and I took myself on a pilgrimage to England to study more closely the life and work of the 18th century mystic poet and artist William Blake. Now, I had never been out of the country. I had only ever once before flown on an airplane. I was alone for most of the trip, having to figure out on my own train schedules and a cheap B&B and making dollars turned into English pounds last a month. I had to figure out how to have enough pence in my pocket to make a long distance phone call from a phone booth home at an hour that took into account the time zones that I had never before considered much. I did all this and more. Yet one of the persistent memories of that trip, one of the images that still surfaces when I have forgotten so much about the trip, is this. On more than one occasion, many more than one, I am still somewhat stunned and ashamed to say it. I found myself an hour or more after using the loo, as they say in England, I found myself with my zipper down. Oh, my stars, the shame of it. How long had I been so exposed? How could I be so foolish? What an idiot. Long after that month in 1982, so often eclipsing all that I had accomplished, all that I had learned, all the fortitude and endurance and creativity and real courage I had manifested, I could still feel that red wash of shame, my zipper down in public. Why might that be? What does such a thing mean to be haunted by such a memory in the midst of so many other memories? Why the raw and literally exposed rather than the beaming with joy? Why did that shame last so long? Our Unitarian Universalist first principle calls us to affirm and respect the inherent worth and dignity of each person. And how often do we apply our attention to this principle? By seeking to notice worth and dignity in other people, but not by noticing this truth for ourselves. I have lived in this way. I wonder if you have too. I have made good work of stopping myself on the path of judgment and dismissal of people, of pausing to ask, wait, why do I think that about this person? What bias am I engaging? What do I not know about this person and their situation? What does it serve me or us to think so harshly? Now, I don't always do this first, mind you. I have to stop myself. I have to pause. I have to listen to that better angel of myself who knows my perspective is limited, that I don't know everything, and usually much less than I think I do. But I have learned over time, I have practiced every day to look beyond the big, long-legged man taking up a lot of space with his bobbing red shoe, to realize how he also pulls his leg in to let others pass, to perceive the book he reads, his evident love of it, to grasp his deep care as he watches a man open an umbrella inside, to notice the delight with which he views the shared reality of himself and the man with the umbrella and all the people simply being human together. I have learned and I have practiced, perhaps you have too. Perhaps you are thinking of ways that you have lived into our beloved first principle, finding the inherent worth and dignity in others that you might not automatically perceive. But have you done that for yourself? I have learned to say my hurts don't matter. They're not as important as the hurts of others. That's wrong. I may have more social privilege than my neighbor, but that does not exempt me from the human conditions of pain and grief. Or I have learned to think my life is vastly more important than that of others. At the center of the universe is me and only me. That is also wrong. Yet it is not egotistical or superior to direct care toward oneself. Our worth and dignity is indeed inherent. The first principle moves against the philosophies which perceive humanity as inherently sinful or worthless. We are all of us the children of life, life coming to us and through us in mystery. This is our inheritance. And that doesn't mean that everything we say or do is automatically good. We all know that. We all think and even do some awful stuff. We all manifest behavior we need to adjust, including the behavior toward ourselves. To care for oneself is not to care less for others. More than bubble baths and massages, caring for self requires deep awareness of what pains us, what soothes us, what motivates and inspires us. Now, bubble baths and massages are good self-care if you are so inclined. But that kind of physical attention to your body is not the only or maybe even the best way to care for yourself. And practices such as that come to us often through the marketing of the consumer reality we are always swimming in. If we buy these bubbles, this bath bomb, this goop, we are told, we are convinced we will get to achieve the serenity we so crave. A fancy coffee from a storied national chain might be a form of self-care for some of us, but the price might well be prohibited for those whose incomes are stretched across housing and medical care and food. Our economies in both our countries are built upon the necessity of earning and then spending, and further by enticing us to want and want and want, often just beyond our means, keeping us all striving after the things we see in front of us but can't quite grasp. The incessant wanting after things can keep us from understanding what is really important to us. The consumer economy has taught us that we lack, we are broken, and we are empty. And if we yearn for a thing, save for a thing, buy a thing, we may feel whole and filled. But that is a false promise. It's false because things in themselves cannot make meaning for us. And it is false also because we are not broken and lacking. We are rather full of humanness. Our fears, our yearnings and confusions, these are not a problem. These are what we are. They are a part of what make up our human condition. The problem is not that we are made this way. The problem is that we learn to see this truth as wrong, as something that can be perfected, often through things. We seek a solution outside of us when we need to honor our own worth. We are here now in this space and time to seek that new truth, a different possibility. We are here to open our hearts, to lay down our burdens, to lift up our hope, and to find something new. Ross Gay gives us an example. Yes, he is buying a fancy coffee, but that is hardly the point of his story. He is maneuvering through a beloved terrain, a place he does not live, but where he makes a place for himself. He smells the air, full of the scent of deliciousness, carefully and lovingly made. He is mindful that while the bakery he heads for is good, the roti place Kitty corner from it is also good. And it's not just with food. It's good with the thoughts of a person bestowing upon him positive regard. I was just thinking about you on Sunday. Thought of by a person with her own burdens of grief and pain. And the coffee and croissant, just an excuse to read a final book by a beloved author, to allow the poignancy of that, the last book he will ever write, to wash through him and yet not take away his pleasure in that book. And aware of his body and the space it takes, Gay is aware as well of the proximity, the negotiation, the closeness, which means also mini contacts again and again as he bobs his big red shoe down, but briefly, so as not to catch a cramp in his hamstring or calf, which would be dangerous. Making space, he deserving of taking space too. And then that umbrella opening in the cafe. What should seem annoying or stupid or inconvenient or embarrassing, a cause for humiliation. And instead, the gentle, caring thought he leaves us with, directed toward the man with the umbrella open in a bakery, but also for all of us. I saw him giggle to himself with a smirk that today I read as a smirk of gentleness, of self-forgiveness. Do you ever think of yourself late to a meeting or peed your pants some or sent the private email to the group or burned the soup or ordered your cortado with your fly down or snot on your face or opened your umbrella in a bakery? Do you ever think of yourself as the cutest little thing? Could we be that gentle with ourselves? Could we allow the running thoughts of perfection and wanting to go quiet? Could we allow the feelings of shame and lack go quiet? Could we pause to listen to the unheard world within ourselves? That world where we notice that someone is thinking lovingly of us as we think lovingly of them, where the delicious smells and tastes of life are sweetly acknowledged, where what we care deeply about, ideas, values, community, take up more space than the silly, embarrassing things we all do, the hurtful things we sometimes do. Might we take some of the unheard world with us, use it to care for ourselves as the precious humans we all are? Can you entertain with me a new vision, a new fulsome sense of what we each are, unique, alive, learning to live as we live? Imagine yourself not as one starfish on the whole beach, but as the whole beach of starfish. Each starfish, one of your memories, each a moment with which you condemn and denounce yourself, criticize yourself unjustly, undercut your own inherent worth and dignity as a beautiful, imperfect human. You have certainly been the man on the beach who can't see the point of trying to save one because he can't save all. Why bother if perfection can't be reached? Can you also imagine yourself the boy who made a difference for that one? The part of you who reclaims the shame and the dread we feel about ourselves, about parts of ourselves. The boy who takes the living bit, the hurting bit, and casts it back into the sea of life, the nurturing and nourishing tide, the mystery that gave rise to each of us. Can we learn to be that gentle with ourselves and all our odd bits? Before we leave behind this kairos, this time set aside, and return to chronos, to the time of ordinary living, before we depart this shared hour in Zoom space, let us spend some time again in the unheard world. Give yourself permission to return to the unheard world. Let us pause for quiet, resting in quiet, practicing once more what it might be to give a moment of time to care for ourselves. For all that is our life, for all that challenges us, for all that fills us, may we give time to ourselves, that we may honor the mystery of our experience, each self a unique expression worthy of care. May loving kindness fill us, reminding us and assuring us that as we wish love for others, so we are right to wish love for ourselves. And may we pray, in whatever ways we each do, that the larger reality of love and life aid us in our quest to love ourselves into wholeness. May it ever be so.